Love is watching someone die, and watching someone die is hard. Watching someone die is hard. Charlie, 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 Charlie. Hi, I'm Daniel Madison. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Thanks. Appreciate you choosing to spend a bit of time with me, especially when I'm traveling, when I haven't got much time, but I have got a lot of time because I'm in a hotel room about to deliver some special goods to some special people. Thought I'd take a few minutes to talk about my new Ace of Hearts tattoo and want to teach you something called clockwork. Clockwork is a pretty little idea where I take the king, it turns into the Ace of Hearts, the Ace of Hearts then turns back into the king, and it keeps going and it keeps going. And I've been doing this for quite a few years, and I once taught it many years ago on my YouTube channel, and it's changed somewhat over the years. The first few parts of it I love, the way that you do the double lift, the way you flick the card, the way that they stay together, the way that you slip it and it seems to change in front of this. But I like the idea of giving you the first few parts and teaching you the first few parts and then you taking it away and doing what you want to do with it. So I'm going to teach you the first part. I'm going to teach you how to do the double lifts, get to the end to the final reveal of the Ace of Hearts, and then take it, do what you want with it. Without further ado, let's take a look at this move. So this begins with an interesting double. Now I'm holding a break underneath the top two cards with finger 4 and my thumb is pressing against the top corner of the deck here, the top index corner. Now finger 2 of the free hand is going to come up and lift those two cards, and the thumb goes on top, so I pinch it here, and then with help from finger 1 I extend onto my thumb and then I turn it over like this to reveal the king. And I'll grip with my right hand over here, I grip so that those two playing cards stay together as I flick like this. The deck hand then makes a Charlier cut with, I'd say, about a quarter of the packet. So you want a small packet going on top of these two cards here, so they clip that card in place. Once you're in this position, don't press down too hard because you need these two cards to move as one. We're going to flick them in a second and they're going to spin around here. If you're holding too hard, this happens. They don't move too far. Whereas if you relax a little bit, it goes round here and this part of both cards stops on the crutch of the deck hand, like this. So from the beginning, two playing cards, Ace of Hearts on top of the King of Diamonds, thumb is holding them together here. I do this crazy double, boink it off my thumb if that's the right word, Charlier cut a quarter of the deck to catch this card and then flick. So the two cards stay together as one. When they hit the hand here, that keeps them held together too. So once they're at this position, the free hand is going to come over and completely hide the card. It's going to cover everything. Finger one's going to go underneath and press upwards to add some pressure. So when finger one hits here, the palm of my hand is going to touch the top of the card, round about here, and I'm going to push that card away so it pops out of the deck like this, and I'm then going to pull it over the deck here and work it underneath the deck. And underneath the deck, all my fingers are helping each other to pull that card underneath. So it looks like this now that you know what's going on. I'll try to expose the performance of this. So turn, double boink, charlier, clip, flick, here finger one underneath, palm of the hand like this. I go forward and then I pull it on top of the deck like so. The fingers pull that card underneath. Now notice how this hand, the free hand, helps that card go underneath and it ends up in this position. Because it's in this position, we take advantage and we grab hold of the card and pull it out. Now if you watch this, it looks like the hand going from here to here to here, it looks like a very natural flow of movements. I'm not going anywhere that shouldn't be. It just looks like my hand's doing a really natural thing. So again from the start, there's boink, charlier, flick, natural movement. As my hand comes over here, I pluck that card out of the deck, and you might want to do a little spin. That's up to you. I bring the card over here and rotate one so it lands on top, face up. Pop that away from my fingers like this so it goes and lands face up. Now I'm going to take the deck from above like this, cut the deck in half into this hand. The thumb is going to push the ace up slightly like this. As that happens, all the attention is drawn onto this card. This hand then makes contact with fingers 2 and 3 onto the king, because the king's down the bottom. And I peel it away from the bottom of the deck like this, as the left hand turns face down to show the back of that ace. So now, exposed, I have the king on top of the ace. From this position, it looks like I'm just showing you the back of the ace. Now I press away from the deck like this, as my thumb straightens that king up on top of the ace, lifting both those cards away from the deck as I turn them over. This gives me a huge break to insert the rest of the deck inside like this. The card's in position for me to just grip it here, turn it face down, spin, and reveal. So once again, quickly from the top, spin, boink, charlier, clip, flick, steal, lose under the deck, pluck, spin, pop, cut, steal, show the back of this, finger one presses up as I align them. This packet goes underneath the gap, double, face down, push it off, spin it, reveal it. And that's what I call clockwork. And now I have a few notes, so let's change angle. So I did teach clockwork a while back, and it was much more intricate. There was a lot more happening. There was a lot more color changes involved and moving parts. But over the years, I've found that narrowing it down to this snappy little, cute little, interesting thing is the best way forward. It's just a little snappy thing. Maybe it's a way of introducing a playing card that you're going to use for something else. I wouldn't necessarily use it as a color change just for the sake of it being a color change. I always like these kind of flourishy, snappy little ways of just introducing that ace of hearts. You know, changes into king, changes back to the ace. But the main reason I wanted to put this back on film was to give you something to make your own. I love the first few parts of this idea. The first, twisting those playing cards face up, the boinky boink move. I love to charlier inside. This part is really nice because when the participant sees this, first of all, the way you turn them over is bizarre. I've never been a fan of doing double lifts like this, but in this case, it's very acceptable because it feels like a flourish and it looks like a flourish. So it looks like it's meant to be turned over that way. I really don't like it when magicians do this turnover, just to show that it's only one card in the hand, because it's what a strange thing to do. Why would you do that? I've spoken about this before already in my channel. I won't repeat myself. But in this case, because it's a flourish itself, it's kind of a flourish, it makes sense and it feels okay to turn two cards over like this, because really you're just presenting it as one playing card in a flourishy way, and especially when it continues and all these strange and interesting things are happening. I know that I'm over-justificationing. I know that I'm over-justifying this, but so the first move is really nice to the boinky boink move. Charlier inside. This bit's beautiful, I think. Flicking it here because it looks like if there was more than one playing card there, surely at this point we would be stumbled. Surely they would separate. So it's a really nice moment where you can flick it and they still stay together. The flick itself causes those two playing cards to stick together, but even if they come apart somehow during that spin round, when they hit your hand over here, that straightens it back up, which is a really beautiful thing. This is probably going to take the most practice, the actual flicking part. The rest is quite easy. That bit's quite easy, this bit's quite easy, but then when you flick, if there's too much pressure, it's not going to move around properly, and then you're going to have to do a strange angle to do the next part. You really want it to go over there, and you don't want to have to do this to be able to do the move, because then you're making it obvious that it has to be specifically in this position, which kind of does, but you don't want them to know that. So be gentle when you're holding the deck, so there's a lot of air in between the cards so that it can get that rotation. Be gentle with the way that you flick it as well, because if you flick it hard, both cards are going to fall out and it's game over, buddy. So get to this point, turn, boink, Charlier, clip, flick. Notice how hard I flicked that as well, and it still stayed in there. That's just for practice, so you're going to have to put a lot of practice to figure out what the right amount of pressure is going to be that you're going to need on this playing card. At this point, it looks like there's only one playing card there, and then when you change it, when the color change is executed, I think it's a really magical moment because it looks like nothing could be hidden. The best thing about this, the reason it works, I believe the reason it works so well is because this hand doesn't stop moving. If this hand stops moving when you do this trick, then you kind of letting them know what's going on. The whole point of this, the whole point of magic is that the participant doesn't know what's going on. Don't make it obvious that your finger's going to go up and press up against the back. That shouldn't be an obvious moment. I don't do that until my hand is over here so that they can't see it. If they know that there's extra support under there, if they see this finger, then they might start thinking, he's doing that because of this, because of that. You never know. I like any deception, any deceptive practice needs to look clean, needs to look fair. And if they see fingers moving where they shouldn't be moving, then it just draws suspicion, so you want to avoid that. So come over here, then move the finger, be very gentle with this hand. If you can afford to, have your fingers open. No reason why they need to be closed. At this point where I go like this, my fingers can be open, and I don't want to be covering these two playing cards for too long. I don't want to be here and then do the move. I want it to be one fell swoop, one continuous motion from here to here. As soon as I press down, my hand twists to the side to help that card out. Now, when you're forcing that King of Diamonds, that top card, out of that position, notice this noise. You don't want that noise. That's a very bad noise. It gives away what's going on. The way around this is to be gentle. Be gentle with her. When you come forward like this, be very gentle. As soon as you know it's cleared, now you add pressure. Now you tilt that card so that it comes back over the top of the deck. Again, keeping my fingers open, and it's all one move. I go forward, I go back to the side, and as soon as it's over the side, I know that my fingers can pull it and bend it underneath. Again, be careful with the sound. This hand makes a natural motion over here, pluck, and it looks like this hand, all it's done is cover this card and then pluck. If anything, if your participant tries to work it out, it will look like the King of Diamonds simply was pushed into the deck above the Ace of Hearts. But when you try that, it's actually more difficult than this method. It really is. From this position, if you try to push the King of Diamonds into the deck, you won't be able to do it. You won't be able to do it. Well, you will, but it'll look awful. So from here looks so fair because this hand's moving so openly and so freely and nothing's going on. So then you pluck confidently. You can spin it if you want to. I like to spin it sometimes. And then flick. Make sure it lands face up. If it lands face down like that, then you kind of interrupt the flow. You ruin the flow of it. So you want it to land face up like this. You don't need to do this, but you might feel like you need to get a break between the bottom card and the rest of the deck to separate it, making this next moment easier. You don't need to do it, but something about your nature, something about the way you perform, the way that you know how to handle playing cards will probably tell you to make sure that bottom playing card's away from the deck. Don't need to do it. And I'm saying this because that's what I used to do. So now I'm free. I can just hold the deck freely and carelessly. I take the deck from above, cut. As I cut, my fingers make contact with the bottom card, like this. It's very natural. It looks like I'm not. Looks like I'm handling everything fairly. Because if I do this and then put my fingers there, it's obvious. Whereas if I do this and start pulling this card away, right at that very moment, all the attention is at the moving parts, and I'm forcing the moving part to be the Ace of Hearts. So I'm forcing where you're going to look. This is attention, direction, not misdirection. So I go here, my fingers make contact. At the same time, my left thumb, don't know the difference between right and left, really don't. My left thumb pushes the ace up at the same time as this card being pulled away from the bottom. Now, as soon as I know that it's been seen that the ace is up, I start to turn this hand face down. I don't do anything with this hand. I allow this hand the inertia, lovely word, the inertia to pull that card against my fingers onto the ace like this. This should look like you are showing the back of the ace. I don't know why, but it seems to make sense. So from here, I show the ace here, I push it away from the deck, I show the back of it, I press up with my finger. All the while I'm going by the way this feels on my thumb. I'm now going to straighten up with my thumb and I'm going by the way it feels. I feel it touch my finger. I know it's lined, so I can turn it over with good timing and leave a huge break. Packet goes in here. At this point, this is the break-off point. This is a cut-off point for me. This is where you take this and do whatever you want with it. This whole routine, this whole little snappy, flourishy thing was such a bigger, more complicated routine of things happening. From this point, it went on and on and on, but over the years, I just kind of narrowed it down and loved those first 2-3 moments. From this point, you're in a position where you've got two playing cards tilted, you're back to square one, you're back to showing the King of Diamonds, and you've had a glimpse of the Ace of Hearts. So now you're in a position where you can do whatever you want with this. So turn it into a different trick, turn it into another flourish if you want, into another kind of colour flange, pretty little magical thing. For me, very simple, turn it face down, take the top card, deck goes away, spinny, Spinnington, and then reveal. And then we're back with the ace. You can extend it however you want. You can reveal the king to be in your pocket. You can make the deck vanish, goes to your pocket. That's up to you. The whole point of this, I just wanted to get those, the turnover, the flick, the top change, whatever you want to call it, and then the final inertia, whatever you want to call it, the final move, where you just do a double lift basically. Whew, that was a long outro. So that was Clockwork. Hope that you enjoyed it. As always, if you use Clockwork or anything that I teach on the social networks, don't tag me. It leads your audience to me where they discover the method, and that's bad for magic. Make sure you subscribe so you get my notification bell going ding next time I drop a new tutorial. I'll be back soon with some more dope new tutorials, but right now, I'm Daniel Madison. See you next time. Love is watching someone die, and watching someone die is hard. I don't believe that this is an unhappy or a depressing or a negative statement. I think it's such a beautiful thing, and one of the most beautiful playing cards I've ever seen for sure. So beautiful, in fact, I've just had it tattooed on my back. So this is the Ace of Hearts from the Miscellaneous Goods playing cards, designed by Tyler Deeb, I believe in 2014. When I first saw this playing card, when I first saw the deck actually, it really stuck with me. Everything about it struck a chord, and it became something so meaningful to me instantly. And then this playing card, when I saw this playing card, it's been with me since then, since the first day I got hold of this deck. And now it's on me forever. Anybody can relate to this line. Anybody can kind of understand or find a meaning in it that's personal to them. That death is for your